At last.
What is that?
I'm in love. Oh, God.
It's been a while since we sat down on this couch and recorded a traditional Cauldron Convos podcast, and for that, I apologize. Before we start, we just wanted to give a special shout out to birdfi.com. They have the coolest bird feeders that you can literally monitor from your phone on an app and watch what kind of birdies come to your little feeder and eat those seeds.
It works for ladies, too, those types of birds.
And you can download the video. You could share it with people. It's super cute. I have one. I've made videos on it before. And use code HeyKayla for 10% off your order.
Everybody, we have a phone number. If you want advice from me or from this twerp, call us. Leave us a voicemail.
We'll put the number right here.
On live stream, I will respond live. We have someone, our first call just came in. I'm very excited.
So, Zeno, what do you do as a wealthy daughter in Massachusetts in the late 1800s when your father is handing over his assets to your new stepmom?
Kill him.
Kill him.
Whack him.
Today, we're going to be talking about Lizzie Borden. If you don't know who that is or you haven't heard the story, buckle up, baby.
Talk about quintessential Americana.
Yep.
You've got a distraught daughter who whacks, literally and figuratively, her parents. Get it? Wax.
Like she waxes the hair off their back?
Like the mob will whack you.
Oh. What was the other whack?
She whacked them with an axe.
Yeah, that's the same whack.
No, but you could say, "Hey Tony, you gonna go whack him?" And then
the same. I thought you meant, "Oh, she's a whack."
No, you can whack someone.
She's whack, bro.
You can whack someone. Crack is whack. Sorry,
Okay.
You can whack someone with a firearm.
All right, let's just get into it. Thank you, though. So it took place in the late 19th century in the bustling industrial town of Fall River, Massachusetts. There lived a woman named Lizzie Andrew Borden. I mean, bold to have a middle name be like your father's name. Spoiler
That's not
alert.
bold.
Oh, people have their...
It's very razzmatazz.
So Lizzie was raised in a wealthy household, but also a strict and frugal household. Lizzie's father had risen from modest beginnings to become a prosperous businessman. Goals.
Supposedly, he was so strict, he only let them wear black socks.
Really?
I made that up.
Why would you? Okay. He was involved in the manufacture of furniture and caskets, but also
Did
real
he make
estate
his own
development.
casket?
But despite his success, Andrew was known in town and by everyone for being cheap. And by wealthy, I mean that Andrew, at the time of his murder, his estate was estimated to be worth $10 million in modern days. So he's wealthy. So for being frugal with $10 million, that's a little crazy.
That's
in my
not
opinion.
terribly wealthy.
I don't know. I just don't understand how people still have that. What was the point of making the money?
Thanks, Obama.
Despite his huge net worth, there were things that he could have bought that he just didn't. The Borden family home lacked modern conveniences like indoor plumbing, which was uncommon for rich families of that time.
He's just a masochist.
Yeah, he's just nope.
He just
gotta
wa-
poop
he
in the
wants
bucket,
to
baby.
torture them.
He just wants to smell it.
What's
Okay.
wrong with people like that, though?
Sorry.
Don't you know people like that?
So Lizzie had an older sister named Emma. They both frequently attended church, but beneath the surface of their privileged life lay simmering tensions, and these tensions started after the death of their mother, Sarah, when Lizzie was just 3 years old. Poor Lizzie. So her mother died at 3. Her sister and her, they grew up in this frugal household with their rich daddy. $10 million, okay? But after their mother's passing, Andrew Borden married Abby Durfee Gray in 1863.
And you know Abby was a baddie. He's got $10 million. She's a baddie.
She's a baddie.
She's a baddie. You're not gonna marry someone ugly if you got $10 million.
Lizzie and Emma found it difficult to accept their stepmother, like many kids do. I can't relate to that. Please take my mom and my dad and do something, please. Oh wait, no, do that. But get married to them. Thank you. If you're rich, thank you. But I get it. It's a common trope. Is that a word? Trope? I just made that up. No, it is. I just don't know if I'm using correctly.
Well,
it's a
the
common
evil
trope.
stepmother.
Yeah, that no one likes their stepmother in the beginning, because she's she's replacing your mom, Years and years went, Lizzie and Emma grew up, and as this happened, Andrew started to show more favoritism towards Abby's family. So the stepmother's family, he's like, hey, I'm going to provide for you. Meanwhile, the girls are pooping in buckets. And
no,
they're like,
not a bucket, an outhouse.
Okay.
Which in all honesty, I would like to experience it.
Okay, cool. So he was giving more favoritism towards Abby's family, but not just that, not just attention time. He was giving them properties and assets of his that the daughters believed belonged to them eventually. He apparently even gifted his sister-in-law a house. A house for your sister-in-law?
But like, what was a house?
Why would you
in
get
the
your
1800s?
sister-in-law a house?
It'd be like $50.
So at this point, Lizzie is 32 years old, but she's still living at the house with her father and live-in maid. But she is so rich. What? Oh shoot, that's not gonna be me. Don't say that. Don't say that, please. I was gonna laugh at the fact that she lived at home, but that was okay. But to be fair, like 32 back then is like 42 now.
More like 52. Like
52.
You're halfway dead at
like
32.
People were getting married at like 15. But she's so rich that she travels back and forth to different places. Her and her sister, they go travel here, they go here. They're wealthy. This is what they do. They don't have husbands. They're just traveling out here. And apparently while she was traveling, her dad killed a bunch of her pigeons that she was taking care of.
Like to eat?
Like he just like shot them because they were like, I don't know, annoying, like pooping probably. This is literally, I made that up. But no, I didn't make the pigeon thing up, but I made the pooping thing up. But he like shot them. And apparently this is like a rumor that like she was mad about that when she came back.
I would be mad too if I lost my pigeons.
In addition to that, she was mad that daddy's buying stepmom's family everything in the world, you know? Horse and carriage and house and outhouse.
Probably really good food.
Buy yourself an outhouse before you buy your sister-in-law a house. That's just like
interesting?
A thing you should just do.
Back in the day, people ate really like clean food because there's no preservatives or anything.
Yeah.
But they died so quickly.
Yeah.
Because of medicine. So it's interesting how medicine has gotten better, but food's gotten worse.
Yeah, but think about all like the germs that they were just like everything. Like their clothes.
Lizzie didn't wash her hands.
Like they didn't have Clorox. Did they? What'd they use?
What
like
would the Polish?
oil?
What did Polish people do back in the day? They have no bleach to bleach the sidewalk.
But in June of 1892, a family argument prompted both sisters to take extended vacations in New Bedford. Rich people take extended vacations, by the way, because they don't have to work. So they literally, like, if someone's going away all summer, 3 months, like, you're rich. Unless it's like a fat camp, then I'm sorry about that. But like, if you're renting a house in like Martha's Vineyard for 3 months, like you rich.
You could be working from home in the modern day.
Because of the fight that happened before they left town, I guess maybe about the pigeons, but also mostly about the stepmom's family and all the assets being dispersed to all of her family and not to the daughters. Lizzie stayed in a local rooming house for several days before she actually returned back home to her dad, live-in maid, whatever. Now at home is her dad, Andrew. Stepmom Abby, Lizzie's maternal uncle John, came as well a few days before this.
Her dead mother's brother came.
Her dead mother's brother is there too, but he just got there a few days. Like it wasn't a common thing for him to just show up and stay a few nights. Apparently they were talking about the guy's finances and stuff, but I don't know why your wife who died when your daughter was 3 and you're remarried, I don't know why you're talking to her brother.
At that point, do you just stop talking to that side of the family?
They don't have Facebook, so they're just bored. Anyway, but apparently, apparently that guy also had like a niece in the area too that he was visiting too. But he's sleeping at their house, right?
It was probably a big house.
I mean, it was a modest house for him having $10 million in our time.
I mean, they are still pooping outside.
And then they also have the live-in maid that's also there. I just wanted to note all the players here, okay? Lizzie's maternal uncle John came over for a few days to discuss property transfer with Andrew. Seems like everyone just wanted to hang out with Andrew for his houses.
I mean,
but honestly, Andrew,
if he's
you're
giving
down,
them to the
me.
other family, who's to say he won't give them to
Yeah,
them?
that's true. If he's just handing
Meanwhile,
out
Kayla's
houses.
like looking for. She's literally telling me, "I need to find an old lady that's about to die to leave me a
No,
house."
I do not. Don't say that. Don't tell anyone. That's going to be used against me in the court of law. I always say that.
Boo-hoo.
That was a joke for court of law purposes, for legal reasons. Okay. When Lizzie got home, she found that the entire household had been struck with a mysterious illness. So this is like what you were just saying about them getting sick all the time, the clean food and stuff, why they died so early. They had been struck with a mysterious illness. It was speculated to have been caused by mutton left cooking for several days, which raised fears of poisoning. So they just kind of left out for several days. So they just left out meat because that's why I'm saying like they just like did things like that were like disgusting
cooking,
and horrible.
It would actually be so tender.
Yeah, no, maybe not cooking. I think it was just left out. They still have their illness, right? August 4th. John Morse, this is like his second morning waking up there, okay? John and Andrew were chatting, they were eating breakfast, and then Abby, the stepmom, she went upstairs to make beds sometime between 9 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. that morning. John left the house at about 8:45 a.m. to visit his niece in the area. So this is the Uncle John. He left, he pieced out around 8:45. So like right before Abby went upstairs to make the beds. Andrew left the house at around 9 a.m. to go on a walk. Sometime between 9 a.m. and 10:30 a.m., Abby, Lizzie's stepmom, was brutally attacked. Forensic evidence would later reveal that she was struck first on the side of her head, causing her to fall face down before being attacked again with a hatchet-like weapon. Her death was violent, with a total of 19 strikes inflicted upon her. Andrew returned home around 10:30 a.m. and he discovered that he could not open the door. The live-in maid later testified that this is when she heard Lizzie laughing from the top of the stairs. The live-in maid saying he couldn't open the door, so she went downstairs. She's helping him open the door. The maid testified that she heard the daughter, Lizzie, laughing from upstairs. When Andrew finally managed to enter, he
As
said...
one does after you murder your mother.
Yeah. Stepmother. When Andrew finally managed to enter, he sat on the couch, but not long after he suffered at least 10 strikes to his head while he was likely seated on the couch still. The live-in maid testified that Lizzie had called her downstairs, exclaiming, "Maggie, come quick, father's dead, somebody came in and killed him." When the police questioned Lizzie, her responses seemed contradictory. At times, she claimed to have heard sounds before entering the house, yet at other times, she was unaware of any wrongdoing at all. So she's like, changing up the story a little bit. Investigators searched through the Borden home and discovered a hatchet head in the basement that looked like someone deliberately dusted it to appear as if it had been there for a while. Now, a lot of people say that's BS. How do you, artificially dust something?
I could dust something.
I guess, oh.
I would take really, dry dirt.
Oh, I know you. Yeah.
And spread it over it, and then just brush.
No,
off
I
the
would
big chunks.
I would use a blade and go like this and off of a book that's already dusty, and then spread it like butter.
No, I don't think that would work.
You can't do that. Well, let's test it
when
out.
You think
Let's
about when you
should
clean
have a contest.
dust, a
Lizzie Borden
sticks to
hatchet
itself.
contest. Who would they have
gotten
bullied?
away? Yeah.
Officers noted Lizzie's demeanor was odd. She was calm, which obviously was weird because her dad was just murdered with a hatchet in her living room. Police searched her room but found no bloodstains. But the initial police investigations were later criticized for lacking thoroughness. As days passed, people in the town were talking about this obviously, and Lizzie's social standing began to crumble. Dun, dun, dun. Poor Lizzie. Can't go to the ball this year. Wah, wah, wah.
Well, if you think about it,
that's all you have to do.
That's
right?
all you have.
I know. That's all you have, your reputation.
I was just thinking about that. What did people do back in the day? Read books?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
A lot. They must have been... How are they not as smart as us? Because technology.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. Lizzie was arrested just a week after the murders, and her trial began in June of 1893, a year later. The trial attracted national attention, becoming a media spectacle that drew crowds and reporters from everywhere. During court, Lizzie sat with her defense team, which were well-known lawyers. The prosecution struggled to present compelling evidence linking Lizzie to the murders. The hatchet head was examined, but the prosecution could not definitely prove it was the murder weapon. Witnesses recounted Lizzie's strange behavior and conflicting accounts, but her defense maintained that the evidence was purely circumstantial. So they had a bunch of people, basically, that were kind of around in the area be like, "Oh yeah, she was very weird. I saw that." It was just a bunch of he said, she said. That was their evidence back then.
I love that.
But a pivotal moment came when a neighbor testified that she had seen Lizzie burning a dress in the kitchen shortly after the murders. Lizzie claimed it had been ruined by paint, and that is why she was burning the dress.
Oh, that's a bad look.
That I mean, honestly, I don't know how. Is that how you were supposed to dispose of clothes back then? There was no Salvation Army drop-off, so, there was no Poshmark you could resell it on?
On that fact alone, I want to say she's guilty.
But, they didn't... Did they have garbage? What did they do with their garbage? They burned it all?
But that's random. Was it the same day?
Well, you just said that they have nothing to do all day, so what if she was painting? What if she paints every day? No, it's in the same week.
Burns,
in the same
I would
week.
get paint on myself every single day.
The defense did not challenge this testimony about the Lizzie saying that it was ruined by paint, which cast a shadow over Lizzie's innocence. A local druggist, I don't know, I guess that's probably a pharmacist at the time, claimed that Lizzie had inquired about purchasing hydrocyanic acid, which she said was to clean a fur coat. But the druggist said that the acid didn't have antiseptic qualities to do anything for fur. Eventually, the jury reached a verdict that Lizzie Borden was acquitted of all charges.
Crazy.
When she left the courthouse, she was reported to have declared she was, quote, the happiest woman in the world. Yet her acquittal did not restore her standing in Fall River society.
It don't matter. She got $10 million.
I know. In the years following her trial, Lizzie and Emma moved into a large home. Despite her acquittal, Lizzie continued to face ostracism. The relationship between the sisters deteriorated over time. After a bitter argument regarding a party Lizzie hosted for a visiting actress, Emma moved out of their shared home and cut ties with Lizzie for good. Lizzie Borden passed away June 1st, 1927 from pneumonia, just days before her sister Emma did, even though they never talked,
Wow.
it was just happened to be. So, now that we said all that, it's like, did Lizzie Borden do it? Because she was ultimately free, and she lived her life peacefully, it seems, but, she always had this stain on her reputation that, she could have done it, So, a lot of people online don't think she did it, okay? I don't think she
Really?
did it. I don't think she physically did it.
She has the most motive, if you think about it.
Lizzie's presence at the home was also a point of dispute during the trial, according to testimony. Sullivan, which was the maid, she entered the second floor at around 10:58 a.m. and left Lizzie and her father downstairs. Lizzie told several people that at this time she went into the barn and was not in the house for 20 minutes or possibly a half an hour. The maid is saying that she was in the house. Lizzie is saying she went into the barn, and she had someone, Hyman Lubinsky, testified that he saw Lizzie leaving the barn at 11:03 a.m. and Charles Gardner confirmed the time. At 11:10, how the heck did they exactly? Why were they just staring at the window?
Constantly checking their watches.
That's weird. That's odd. At 11:10 a.m., Lizzie called Sullivan downstairs, told her Andrew had been murdered, and ordered her not to enter the room. Instead, Lizzie sent her to get a doctor. So it seems like Lizzie was not even in the house. She was in the barn at 11:03. Then she walked in at 11:10 or whatever and saw her dad on the floor and then screamed. But the maid is saying that she was there at around 10:58 a.m. whacking, which would not be possible.
Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she'd done, she gave her father 41.
How do you sing like that? You're giving me anxiety. It's creeping me out. Okay. An author suggested that Lizzie committed the murders after being caught with Sullivan, the maid, romantically. They think that Abby had caught the two together and reacted with disgust, and that Lizzie had killed Abby with a candlestick. She made a confession to Andrew when he returned home, but killed him in a rage with a hatchet when he reacted exactly as Abby had.
Abby!
He thinks that Sullivan, the maid, was the one who disposed of the hatchet somewhere afterwards.
Sullivan killed Abby in the upstairs parlor with a candlestick.
And in her later years, Lizzie was rumored to be a lesbian, because I guess she never got married, and neither did her sister. Not that they were together, but you know what I mean. Okay. But there was no such speculation about Sullivan, who later married a man she met while working as a maid in Montana. Allegedly, Sullivan gave a deathbed confession to her sister, in which she stated that she had changed her testimony on the stand in order to protect Lizzie. Which doesn't make sense, because wasn't she the one that was 10:58?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's getting a little bit fuzzy here. Sullivan stated that she had removed Andrew's boots and helped him into his slippers before he lay down on the sofa for a nap, a detail contradicted by the crime scene photos, which showed Andrew wearing the boots. So why is she lying? You would remember if you took... Wouldn't you remember?
I don't remember what I ate for breakfast.
But if you're a maid and he was, the guy couldn't get in the house and you had to
This
run
is your
downstairs.
line of work.
People said maybe it was William Borden, who was the illegitimate son of Andrew Borden, the dad, but that was proven to be completely wrong, so that's not an option. Emma Borden, the sister, but Emma had an alibi in Fairhaven, about 15 miles from Fall River, but a crime writer proposed in his book that Emma might have secretly visited the residence to kill her parents before returning to Fairhaven in time to receive the telegram informing her of the murders.
Wow.
There's someone saying that she could have maybe gone there and back. The last person who I think it is, John Morse, the maternal uncle. John Morse, Lizzie's maternal uncle, who rarely met with the family after his sister died, but had slept in the house the night before the murders, according to law enforcement. He had provided an, quote, absurdly perfect and over-detailed alibi for the death of Abby Borden. So the police were all saying that Lizzie Borden did it because she was contradicting herself, her emotions were different, on and off. But if anything, that is less concerning than if someone is he was just given it all the details.
Yeah.
So it was like a little weird. Like, why did you come prepared with like having the alibi here and this and that, all the evidence, whatever. Someone on Reddit who studied axe murders, particularly in this time period, had their own thoughts on the case. It was clear that Abby was likely using Andrew's dementia, he was 72, paranoid about pigeons giving away his wealth, to transfer wealth to herself and her family before he died. As for Lizzie and her sister going in the basement with a slop pail, they could have had their periods and needed to wash their period supplies, as was done back then, privately at night, as it was stated she was bent over a sink. An officer even said that the hatchet handle was there and that the other officers were lying. So most of the facts I take with a grain of salt, such as her contradictory statements ever happening in the first place and so on. This woman thinks that, like, I don't even think that she was contradicting herself. I don't even think that she was being as, like, whatever as the police were saying. They said her memory changes from what I read sound just like trauma responses. They aren't elaborately detailed, which is what liars usually do. They sound vague and confused. Meanwhile, the uncle had provided an absurdly perfect and over-detailed alibi for the death of Abby Borden. The maid's statements were easily influenced threats by a bunch of male cops out to target Lizzie. It sounds to me like the sisters had enough of their stepmother abusing them via their father and his bad behavior, so called up their uncle who handled the issue. I don't think Lizzie killed either of her parents. I think she and her sister knew the stepmother had tried to poison them all in retaliation for the transaction and arguments that week over, property and stuff. Had considered poisoning the stepmother back, but had the uncle come in to handle it because they were buying that acid.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They were caught buying that, but also the mutton. So I don't know. There wouldn't have even been enough time for Lizzie Borden to hatchet, have blood everywhere. I'm assuming if the person whacked them that many times and the crime seems crazy, she had blood everywhere. You don't just not get blood on yourself from that,
Yeah.
She didn't have a single drop of blood on her, anything like that. Her hair wasn't wet, her room didn't have any evidence of it. So it was like, how would she even been able to with the timeline of it? But after Lizzie's death, I just wanted to say Borden was worth over $250,000, which is equivalent to almost $6 million now.
She blew $4 million? I love that.
No, her and her sister split it.
So she grew it.
Oh, she's a money man.
She's girl boss.
Girl bossing. She left $30,000, equivalent to $706,000 in 2023, to the Fall River Animal Rescue.
2023? Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, I thought
$700,000 to a animal rescue. She died. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of animals.
Well, considering I think she gave some to her friends too, but that was like even less. But she did give $12,000 in trust for perpetual care of her father's grave. Now, I don't know if she did that for herself too, but like, I guess it could have been out of guilt, but to me it was like, maybe she just really liked her dad, and I don't know. Maybe she didn't kill him. I mean, he was gonna die soon, right?
That doesn't mean whack him. The crime scene photos are messed up, man. Don't look at them up.
Oh, I know. The Borden house was on a busy downtown street, I guess. Bridget, neighbor Mrs. Caroline Kelly, and local workmen all saw Andrew alive near or at home around 10:45 a.m.
Oh, man, he was warm.
By 11 or 11:05, while sitting or resting on this couch, his face had been obliterated by blows from a hatchet or cleaver.
That's crazy,
Bridget recalled
Kayla.
Lizzie... What?
How many people could have done that?
They would have had to work together.
Yeah.
It's like a game of Clue. This freaking case. It's crazy. You even have the maid.
It must
you have
have been
the uncle
Abby
that
and
came.
Lizzie. Was Abby a kitty
No,
sniffer?
Abby's stepmom. You mean Emma.
Emma, was she a kitty sniffer?
I don't know. Don't say that. The maid recalled Lizzie calling for help shortly after the city clock chimed at 11. People saw Bridget running around 11 to 11:05. Mrs. Adelaide Churchill, a neighbor, entered the Borden home 11:05 a.m. to 11:10 to help, saw Andrew dead on the couch, then fetched a stable boy to phone police. The first neighbors, police, and doctors to see Andrew's body reported his blood was still red, fresh, and flowing. He had not been dead long, unlike Abby, whose blood was dark, coagulated, and drying. So hers was older. I can't get past that within minutes of the second murder, Lizzie was surrounded by multiple people who all reported she had not a hair out of place, no blood on her, no wetness to indicate she had washed up, nothing. No bloody clothing ever definitely
And all those
found.
waxes are true crime of passion. Whoever did that would be covered. Would be a mess.
How, if she did it herself alone, could she have pulled off such a brutal, bloody crime and successfully hidden all traces of evidence in 15 to 20 minutes tops, sight unseen? Why would she have not tried to establish a stronger alibi or attempted to incriminate someone else?
Now, that would be a fun game show that we could do here, where I would cover you in fake blood.
No. What the?
Where you like whack a watermelon 40 times and I spray blood on you, and then you have 20 minutes to put yourself together.
We just inject a watermelon of fake blood?
Wait, that would
That'd
be
be
kind
cool.
of funny.
Yeah, that would. We have to really test this theory out. Oh, Uncle John also showed up the day before without any luggage and having an alleged confrontation with Andrew over business matters. And Lizzie's alleged but unconfirmed attempt to
Why would he
purchase
show up with no
poison the
luggage?
week of.
What an animal.
And Lizzie's admitting that she did buy this acid thing, but she's saying it was for fur. Abby fetched Dr. Bowen, the doctor, the night before, worried she was being poisoned and being rebuffed by an angry Andrew. Lizzie being cleared as a suspect until Alice Russell came forward to say she and Emma saw Lizzie burning an alleged paint-stained dress after the murders. If guilty, and if that was the murder dress, why burn it in broad daylight in front of two people?
That's true.
Lizzie's dressmaker came forward during trial to say indeed the Borden house was being painted when she was there making the dress. The prison matron overhearing Lizzie complaining, "You have given me away," to Emma. Lizzie's alleged but unconfirmed affair with actress Nancy O'Neill in the early 1900s. I don't know how that has. Emma moving away from their new home in 1905 and never speaking to Lizzie again. I guess this is not like, I guess only for, this is just cool, like random weird things that were happening. Emma dying from a fall in 1927, a week after Lizzie died of gallbladder illness. The refusal of the friends who stuck by Lizzie and Emma post-trial to ever discuss the case. Bridget allegedly wanting to make a deathbed confession of new info in the early 1950s, but clamming up when reporters found out. The office of Lizzie's trial lawyer, George Robinson, still to this day refused to release his Borden case papers. I don't know how he would be able to now.
Well, they're sealed.
Come on.
Come on, Donald Trump. Release the Lizzie Borden tapes.
What the? This has to be figured out. What cases have been figured out? This is annoying. But anyway, I mean, we could go on and on and on and literally go do this for like 4 hours, but let's not today. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you are still here and you made it here, hi, write something below in the comments. Write Lizzie Borden ate some cheese. Lizzie Borden la la la. Okay. Anyway,
I was trying to think of a lesbian rhyme.
Thank you guys so much. Make sure to subscribe if you are new, and we'll see you guys next time here in Cauldron Combos. Bye!